This is the Okay, so this is the ultimate question that you have to decide when you're making a Halo, when you're adapting a Halo into a movie or series. Okay, and if it's going to be starring the Master Chief,
But it
okay,
isn't.
this is a Halo. I'm saying, like, if you're going to do it, you're confronted with the question of the game started in a time that was culturally different, and now it's lasted throughout a cultural shifts, and now we're in the postmodern deconstructional era of franchise making now, where like every franchise has to like question itself.
It's become
and
modern.
its existence.
But it's become modern. It's so prolific and widespread and abundant that it's almost become a new modern.
Right. Whereas
so
like
to be postmodern now, you would have to be almost reverse back in a way.
And I think that's why The Mandalorian is popular, because it's a fairly sincere like adaptation of things that have come before. You know what I mean? Like, it's not trying to subvert the Western, genre. It's just trying to play into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's trying to mimic it well enough.
Right. And it does that okay.
I would say exceptionally well.
You know what I mean?
I think you're kind of a hater on it.
No,
I give it a 7 out of 10 series.
I think it's okay. Yeah. 6.5. I'm in that ballpark.
See, you always just got to go like 0.5 below me. I feel like you hear mine, you're like, all right. Well, Vince thinks it's that good.
Okay, I
got to be more critical here.
Okay, Mandalorian season 1 is like a 6.8.
Just give it 7, dude.
Season 2 is like a
7.
6.3.
Dude, I was the one person who wanted to hate that show so bad. I wanted to fucking despise it. I was ready to fucking rip it a new one. Then I saw the first episode and I was like, all right, cool. That was cool.
I was on board with the first episode.
No, I mean,
was like, this is
when it was
fine.
announced,
It's silly.
I was just like, I'm done with this fucking franchise.
Oh, it brought you back. Yeah, I think that it was like that for a lot of people. Definitely Red Letter Media too. Like,
Yeah.
they were like, just like, fuck it, whatever.
Just let it die. Was that before or after Rise of Skywalker?
That was like in the middle of like the rush. That was before Rise of Skywalker, but that was like in the midst of like
that's
Solo,
how they got me
Rogue
again.
One.
Oh yeah, I didn't really care for Solo. Rogue One was okay.
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi was
like
bad.
they were all coming out, but okay, back to Halo though.
Sorry, dude. It's just so relevant to everything.
Yeah, it's connected to everything, because like even that like Last Jedi.
It's a product of this mindset.
Last Jedi went postmodern. They it's like, let's deconstruct Star Wars and like question the Jedi and everything. And some people praise that for being subversive and good, and which I would too if
it was done well.
If the movie was if the movie was like more enjoyable. But it's like, you can't like make a blockbuster that questions itself, but also doesn't. You still have to have
A blockbuster.
Yeah, you still have to have the trappings of it, like, to be successful. Okay, you don't have to have it in there.
That movie succeeded solely on the name Star Wars alone.
Right, and that's
they
why
made over $1 billion.
Well, that's why it divided the fan base, and it's completely split the fan base, because it's like half the fans were like, no, don't question it. We want the sincere, like, earnest, like, bring Luke Skywalker back, bring him back as the Jedi. It's like basically like, don't deconstruct it, like, construct it and add on to it, and just build on top of it and just keep. You know what I mean?
I feel like ever since the end,
some people say that that's boring, and we need to deconstruct it in order for it to like get new and interesting stories. And it's like,
but Star Wars hasn't been new since Return of the Jedi.
I get that, but it's like,
or the end of the prequel trilogy, rather. But even then, it wasn't entirely original.
And I would applaud that if the movies were like more interesting or something. But
don't you feel like Star Wars has always existed in a state of revisionism? You know what I mean?
Well, since the prequels,
since the first movie.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm sure there were fans that were like, "Oh no, go back to the simpler first Star Wars."
Well, no, I mean, Darth Vader wasn't written as Luke Skywalker's father from the first film.
Right. I'm sure some people were like, "This is getting too complicated. Keep it simple."
I mean, it's not that complicated, but I get it. I get what you mean.
Well, in the first one, Vader is just like a
faceless evil entity.
Kind of a completely void, just evil kind of, And
but isn't it crazy how these characters go on to remain so prominent in the cultural presence. Darth Vader, Mario, Sonic. They don't originate having personality. They just sort of cultivate it as generations go by.
I guess that must have been new for like a big budget movie to like be like, oh no, we're. It's probably not new actually.
Maybe not, but
where it's like we're gonna kind of subvert it by redeeming the bad guy or something, you know. And Luke does it through nonviolence.
Total
like
Buddhist.
by putting down his sword, and then he forgets that in The Last Jedi. But
oh yeah, immediately tries to kill his nephew. Anyways, Halo.
Son of a bitch. So Halo. So when you're now that you're adapting. So I realized what the original. I watched the cutscenes from 1 and 2, rewatched some of them, and what it really boils down to in terms of the cinematics and like what the characters and the look of it is all going for is it's space. What's that?
It's like Alien.
Spielberg movie.
Which one?
The World War II movie.
War Horse?
No.
Alien? Which one?
The one with Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks? And Saving Private Ryan?
Saving Private Ryan. It's Saving Private Ryan in space.
It's like Red Hawk Down in space.
But in terms of like it's got all the war tropes, and it's got this cinematic, you know, it's like you're just small team involved in this bigger conflict, and it's humanity's desperate to survive this alien invasion. Okay,
yeah,
and it's all very sincere, and it's all very.
I wouldn't say 100% sincere.
Well, it's playing into the fantasy of being a soldier on the on the razor's edge of saving humanity.
Oh, they have like a whole beach scene too. They drop down in pelicans in the first game onto the control room, or trying to locate the library. I mean, they're trying to locate the index or something like that. This is as the story is starting to actually unfold. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now we're starting to get lore into how the Halo ring works and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. In the first one or the second one?
First one.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. There is. But
I mean, that's kind of like through gameplay and stuff.
But the first one and the second one, when do they start deconstruct? When do they start like questioning? Well, I mean, in the second one, they do kind of make you feel bad for the Arbiter, and like. Oh yeah, like these soldiers are just pawns in a bigger, you know, they're being pushed by forces that are way bigger than them.
From the creator's perspective, I think the intent of creating this character, the Arbiter, was to actually, like you say, just kind of grant a little bit of backstory to the people that you've been killing the last game without any thought, and kind of make you actually think about it. It's like, oh, this is like a whole society, a community with an idea, you know, and trying to do whatever it takes to pursue this idea. You know, the Great Journey. The rings are relics and stuff like that. They have ranks. They're basically just like humanity.
Yeah, they're almost like English Crusaders.
Yeah, they're pretty evil though.
Holy war. You know what I mean? And they have like a highly class hierarchy structured society. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the different species are like on the different rungs, or are they?
Yeah, they have like a total caste system.
Like it. I don't know.
They have like a total caste system. Like the grunts are are basically slaves, war slaves.
Right.
And the Kigyar, the jackals, are basically bounty hunters. They hire them. They're not really too religiously fanatic. They're just doing it for they call them
yeah, a lot of fantasy tropes, a lot of medieval
bounties.
Tropes. But so they do kind of. I guess it's not really deconstructing it fully yet, because it's kind of just like adding on.
You know what? It's not deconstruction at all. I think it's construction.
It's
just straight up construction on the universe.
And the society and like they add on this fantasy element where it's like, oh yeah, now these people that were just exterminators, you thought were like, you know, Terminators in the first one that were just there to kill you. They have a society, and that society is like a Middle Earth Tolkien-esque universe, sort of.
It's pretty fucking sick. It's pretty interesting. And the way they do it by directly paralleling, like we were just talking about, Chief's congratulations and awards ceremony, and he's being disgraced and stripped of his rank and his armor, and basically his being is being destroyed.
And the high priests use a lot of religious language about.
But it's crazy because I feel like their Arbiter's the most human character in this
heretics
entire fucking series.
Yeah, totally. Because they keep Master Chief kind of a blank slate for
at least the trilogy
for the player.
Yeah.
You know? And that's another question. So he's kind of like Link in that way. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Or he's like a blank slate just for the player.
Rescue the princess Cortana.
So you always
he's basically like a Mario.
So that's another big question. Whenever you're doing an adaptation, it's like with a character like that, like how do you treat that? Like do you have like a human character that's the real protagonist and has the character arc, and Master Chief and them are just kind of partners or something, you know? Or do you give like an actual arc and character to Chief, you know, and do something and somehow retain?
I think if you're first introducing him to an artist, to an audience,
in the game,
a wider audience, I think you go for the most vague and obscure version of the character. So like just like in the first game, he's just a badass. He's cool. He has some really cool one-liners. He saves the day. And you leave kind of the, you know, the humanity anchor maybe with the UNSC. Maybe you put some Covenant.
You put
lore?
you put some soldiers around him for sure. I mean, you have to have some side characters because so basically, well, let me ask you: do you go postmodern?
No.
Or you go sincere?
I go 100% sincere.
Okay, because that's what I was saying.
I
would
start off, dude. Like, okay,
you've got to make it Saving Private Ryan.
The
in
Covenant
space.
are invading a colony in Reach. Okay, a group of the people who live there, the
Human
inhabitants,
colonists?
yeah,
Mhm.
colonists, just being fucking destroyed. And man, I would make it kind of sneaky, dude. I would just have like little shadowy figures running across the fucking trees and shit, and it's cloaked elites just kind of fucking infiltrating and fucking people up and shit. You see blood kind of smatter their, kind of like Predator,
party?
like the blood smatters their fucking invisible shadow, and you can kind of see it smear and kind of reveal like a little bit of their face.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't just show them like in fucking broad daylight, dude. I would mask them in fucking evil darkness.
it's almost like a war disaster movie combination. You know what I mean?
And then like, okay, the UNSC come in, you see warthogs running and fucking shooting, and they don't know what they're fucking shooting at. Like, be careful, you're gonna shoot the colonists. And then they fucking see like plasma just fucking smatter one of the fucking warthogs and shit. And they're like, oh my god, we're pinned down. And you see this guy fucking like, his fucking chest is like melting because of the plasma rounds. And then you see like a fucking bubble shield come out of nowhere, dude. And it's fucking Master Chief. And he looks fucking cool as shit. And he's fucking destroying all the Covenant and stuff. That's how you do it. That's how you introduce the guy.
Oh, Master
He's
Chief's
got to
right
be.
there in the
He's got to
opening
be like
scene?
Superman, dude. He's got to be like a beacon of hope, an icon, dude. That's how you do it. Humanity's last fucking tool for survival.
Wow. And then maybe in the third one, he tears down the UNSC.
No.